Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
In the hush of twilight, when myth and memory intertwine, there are names whispered only in the shadows of forgotten scrolls. One such name is Armaros, a being both feared and obscured, caught in the space between divine rebellion and the seduction of forbidden knowledge. Neither holy angel nor demon by origin, Armaros emerges in ancient literature as a member of the enigmatic Watchers, a class of angels sent to observe humankind but who ultimately betrayed their divine commission. His story is not one of brute force or conquest, but of instruction, of teaching that which mankind was never meant to know. In the tale of humanity's earliest corruption, Armaros stands not as a tyrant or tormentor, but as a tutor. And therein lies the most chilling betrayal of all. To understand Armaros is to peel back the fragile veil between apocryphal theology and ancient cosmology. He appears most prominently in the Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish text excluded from most modern biblical canons, but widely revered in the early centuries of Judaism and Christianity. This book, preserved in its fullest form by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, provides an elaborate and sometimes disturbing portrait of the sons of God referenced cryptically in Genesis 6 verses 1-4. According to Enoch, these celestial beings, known as the Watchers, were tasked with observing the affairs of humankind. But they succumbed to temptation, not of power, but of desire. They descended upon Mount Hermon and took human wives, producing a race of giants called the Nephilim. The world became awash in blood, chaos, and unnatural knowledge. And Armaros was among those who taught the secrets that accelerated humanity's descent. While many of the Watchers are associated with physical skills, metallurgy, enchantment, astrology, cosmetics, Armaros's contribution was more psychological, more internal. He is described as the one who taught the resolving of enchantments, according to the Book of Enoch, 1 Enoch 8:3. At first glance, this seems like a minor offense, almost harmless when compared to the bloodletting of the giants or the forging of weapons. But the resolving of enchantments was not merely about undoing magical spells. It meant the unraveling of divine boundaries, the deconstruction of spiritual protections, and the manipulation of forces that even angels were warned not to disturb. In his name lies a cryptic clue. Some versions render his name as Armani or Armonial, which scholars speculate may be linked to the Hebrew root word for curse or binding. Others have traced Armaros to the Greek Armaros, possibly meaning cursed one or he who belongs to Hermon. The connection to Mount Hermon is crucial, for this is the place where, according to Enoch, the Watchers made a pact, a solemn and unholy vow to defy heaven and act as gods upon the earth. That a being like Armaros should be linked to this mountain is no coincidence. It was the site not just of dissent, but of rebellion, of the cosmic treason that would change humanity forever. What Armaros taught had ripple effects. To unravel enchantments was to teach mankind how to control spirits, how to challenge divine order, how to manipulate fate. In effect, Armaros introduced the tools of spiritual autonomy, the very thing that separated mortals from their reliance on God. In this way, he echoes the figure of Prometheus from Greek mythology, who stole fire from the gods to empower humanity. But whereas Prometheus is often romanticized, Armaros is condemned. His gift was not fire, but insight, dangerous insight. He did not liberate mankind, he unmoored it. Ancient texts outside Enoch make indirect references to this form of celestial rebellion. The Babylonian myth of the Apkallu, semi-divine sages who brought forbidden knowledge to humans before being banished, may reflect a similar cultural memory. Likewise, Gnostic and early Christian heresies, especially those suppressed in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, retain echoes of these light-bringers who claimed to awaken humanity but ultimately led it into deeper bondage. In this theological framework, Armaros becomes a prototype for later demonic figures who masquerade as illuminators, teachers, or liberators, but whose end is corruption. The punishment of the Watchers was swift and terrifying. According to Enoch, God dispatched the archangel Raphael to bind them in chains beneath the earth until the day of judgment. Armaros, like his brethren, was sealed in darkness, no longer able to interfere directly in human affairs. But the knowledge he imparted could not be unlearned. It spread like wildfire, sinking into the roots of sorcery, occultism, and arcane philosophy. His instruction did not die with him. It lived on in secret traditions, whispered incantations, and the obsessive search for power hidden within language, symbols, and rituals. His was a fall not only from grace, but into legend. This legend endured, especially in regions where Christianity merged with older traditions. In medieval grimoires, those cryptic books of magical rites, beings resembling Armaros appear, not as monstrous demons, but as dignified, knowledgeable entities who reveal mysteries in exchange for allegiance. The Renaissance magician might not have called them Armaros, but the essence was there, the spirit of a fallen tutor offering forbidden truths. Some occult texts even suggest these spirits were not entirely evil, but morally ambivalent, punished for revealing what humanity was meant to learn in its own time. In this reading, Armaros becomes a tragic figure, crushed under the weight of his own enlightenment. But the dominant tradition within Judaism and Christianity is less forgiving. It sees Armaros as a traitor, one who abandoned his celestial duty, violated divine law, and infected the world with spiritual arrogance. His legacy is not only the corrupted human soul, but the distorted mirror of sacred knowledge. In modern times, the figure of Armaros reemerges in conspiracy theories, esoteric literature, and apocalyptic fiction, often cast as the archetype of the false teacher or secret puppet master behind the decline of civilization. He is less a historical being than a symbol, of rebellion cloaked in wisdom, of intelligence turned toward destruction, of the teacher who taught too much. Still, some modern scholars and spiritual seekers revisit Armaros not with fear, but curiosity. Was he truly a villain? Or was he a scapegoat for humanity's own hunger for knowledge? The question remains unresolved, tangled in the same ambiguity that surrounds Lucifer, Prometheus, and other cosmic rebels. What makes Armaros unique, however, is not his pride, his ambition, or even his defiance, but his role as a teacher. He did not lead armies or command plagues. He whispered secrets. He opened minds. He showed mankind how to dismantle the sacred codes. In that subtle rebellion lies a profound warning. Not all ruin comes through force. Sometimes it arrives in the form of a lesson, brilliant, irresistible, and fatal,